them from their death and Lord. Jesus is Lord. Every knee shall bow. Every
And Islam is what was the book that was based with the last last week there was a
London, a city full of royals and red buses, great sights like the London Eye and Big Ben. But as many tourists and locals alike stroll along the River Thames, they fail to realize one of the most historic sights is actually among the green grass. A short walk from London's Marble Arch lies a corner of Hyde Park reserved for those inclined to speak whatever's on their mind, but only on Sundays.
I never heard this until today. So there is no author. It's from many. How many are we talking about? How many wrote this book down? Help me here.
This unique section is called Speaker's Corner, and its history dates back to the 1800s. The Parks Regulation Act of 1872 established a general principle that some parts of the park could be used for meeting and speaking, but some say the corner's history dates back even further.
Actually, what happened was that there were executions over there. People were taken to be hanged at Tyburn. And what happened was that as you were around, you had the right to speak for as long as you wanted. People talk to ensure that they weren't hanged.
The Tyburn Hanging Tree, which Tom speaks of, was established as a site for executions in the early 1100s near the current location of Speaker's Corner. Catholics would take advantage of the blurred division between treason and religion in their dying speech by embracing authority of the monarchy but retaining opposition to the Church of England.
Hampstead, around the corner in Hampstead, they used to lock up people for criticizing the church and the state.
Yes, so
But that's nothing to do with execution.
Hyde Park also served as a spot in the mid-19th century where mass protests were held regarding the suppression of rights of working people. The Reform League argued for the right of assembly and suffrage for the middle class. Whether the tradition to speak out started with executions, the Reform League, or something else, the northeast corner of Hyde Park that George Orwell and Karl Marx used to frequent is still a hotspot for discussions. Sid, a regular speaker, said many participants are currently working on research and doctorates.
But one of the things you've got to appreciate about Speaker's Corner is the level of debate down here is a very high level of debate. If you don't know what you're talking about, they'll crucify you.
Crucify they will, just ask Diane Hamilton, who has been frequenting Speaker's Corner since the early 80s.
I think that one of the things that happened was this girl poured a bottle of water over my head, and it was just how she felt, and I just carried on, and 2 or 3 weeks later she came and apologised. So I was it was a teaching experience, and also made me even more aware that I can upset people.
Diane is one of the few women who continues to draw large crowds each week. She has seen the corner change over the years and said topics used to be a lot more political. Ishmael, another frequent speaker, agrees.
Now, since the sort of 90s onwards, you've seen a shift towards religion. You see a lot of Muslim speakers, you see a lot of Christian speakers coming down. And so, out of 15 or so speakers, the likelihood is that 12 or so of them are religious speakers. I think that has killed a lot of the sort of original identity of what Speaker's Corner represented and what attracted many people down there.
And for a while, the Muslims were running Speaker's Corner. And then we as Christians rose up to respond to that. And now you probably find as many Christians as there are Muslims here at Speaker's Corner.
I've seen the growth of sort of Islam and men of Islam in Speaker's Corner, whereby it becomes dominated by many Muslims, whereby they then enact prayer. And so you've got like 100 Muslims, begin prayer, and had a prayer session.
Religion is indeed a hot topic, and Ali comes every Sunday to make sure speakers get their facts straight.
Let's go to second Samuel. No. Look. He says no, then it says Satan doesn't contradict. No, they both wanted. It's like me saying I went to the park with Matthew, then I'm saying I went to the park with Luke. Yeah, you can go to the pub. All three of you can go to the pub. Pub, whatever you said. Can you class Satan with God? Is God and Satan on the same level? No. Exactly, so that's a contradiction. No, it's not. No, as I said to you, they both wanted the censors. As they both wanted Jesus crucified. There are many times when they both want the same thing. Right, okay, let's say, for the argument's sake, now go to another verse. Okay, wait, I said you can have one contradiction, then I'll answer it, we'll discuss it. No, I've answered it, now I raised something. Can you just listen to him? No, I raised something. Hopefully it's all legal. If I'm lying, let them read. No, it's true. They both wanted the census. I'm not denying it. I think somebody's representing what I believe. If they say, oh, that's something contradicting, obviously I have to correct them, and I will interject, and I will talk. And as you see me, I will shout over them.
However, you know, my opinion on that is that's why churches are there. Do you know what I mean? And it's on a Sunday. You know, don't waste your time at Speaker's Corner. Go to church. There are mediums, there are platforms to give that message, and those spaces are there. Speaker's Corner should be in my mind, but you can't regulate it in that way. So certainly that's the catch-22 situation. So you're going to hear at Speaker's Corner from a Christian telling you about the beauty of Jesus Christ, and if you don't worship, you're going to go to hell, or whatever it might be. You can get that from the church. So there are already spaces, many of them. You know what I mean? The church is the largest landowner in Britain. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of space for them to sort of put out those sort of messages.
Yet even as topics have changed, the soapboxes and traditional ideals seem to remain.
I would define Speaker's Corner as democracy in action, the right of people to speak their mind without fear or favour.
Certainly, you know, it's an open platform, it's free speech. That means anyone, any issue, should have the right to go down and preach.
To be honest, it's a platform where people from different religions come here and express their views. They call people to their faith, vice versa.
Despite the open platform, there are some rules.
I've been arrested in Speaker's Corner. I've been arrested for speaking at Speaker's Corner about 3 or 4 times, and for exercising my right to free speech, because there are certain things that you cannot say at Speaker's Corner. You can't say fuck. You can't swear. You can't say anything against the Queen, and a lot of what I have to say is against the Queen.
A few arrests haven't stopped this regular.
Our parents came here to build this country. Many of them had the intention to work and then go home. Many of them spent 30, 40 years in this country. They still speak the patois.
Even with the rise of Facebook and Twitter among other social media outlets for open discussion, Speaker's Corner still thrives.
Well, I think Speaker's Corner will be there after social media, and so Speaker's Corner has been there for over 100 years. It's a very valid platform. I'm still there. I've been speaking there now for 27 years. It's like a community. It's like a social club. It's open air. The cyber reality cannot replace, you know, the reality itself. Just the old sense of exchange, interaction. There's a dimension of Speaker's Corner that you cannot get in that cyber world, which is face to face, which is the, you know, body language.
As in the cyber world, no matter how loud you shout or how much you say, you're not guaranteed a crowd like Ishmael or Diane. And yet Speaker's Corner is growing.
Things that you've seen today are also put up on YouTube, and some of the clips from YouTube are being seen by people all over the world.
People seem to fancy the idea as Speaker's Corners have expanded to other spots in the UK, as well as other countries including Australia, Canada, Malaysia, and Singapore.
It's a meeting place. It's a meeting spot. You mean you have people from all over the world gather at Speaker's Corner. One of the things that I try to do is to get responses from the audience. So I'm not just lecturing and debating people about my opinion. You know, I try to engage people to participate and to share their opinions, because it's equally as valid.
With a rich history and continued participation, this Sunday tradition won't be extinct anytime soon.
It's cathartic, it's therapeutic to, if you have a problem and an issue, even if it is just to sort of scream it out. Do you mean? Even if it is to just sort of express and let out what it is you're feeling about something.
Stay.